There's a common misconception that when heading off on a weekend four-wheel drive trip, you need to head hundreds of kilometres away from home. But just 2 and a bit hours west of Sydney, the Abercrombie National Park is close enough, yet challenging enough to satisfy your weekend off-road urgings.
It's a beautiful, beautiful part of the world. One of the reasons I really want to go there is it's home to some of the steepest country in New South Wales. Now I'm going to meet my old mate Dingo Dave down there, and Alicia, who apparently is bringing a friend, and I've got no idea who that might be, so that could be anything, now and Alicia. Now you might notice that I'm driving something a little bit different today. Well, the old Ranger had a bit of an issue on the last trip and unfortunately hasn't been able to make it for this one, so I've put in a call to my mates at Mercedes. I've been keen to see what this new X-Class Ute is all about, and I'll tell you what, so far it's very, very impressive, very quiet in here. And some of the tracks that I've chosen that we're going to go and do over this episode are designed to really put this through its paces. Completely standard vehicle. I borrowed a set of wheels and tyres from the guys at Tough Dog. Other than that, completely stock standard, so I'm really keen to see how this thing goes.
So we've just rolled into Abercrombie River National Park. We're on the Abercrombie Fire Trail. This is all new to me, but it's only a couple of hours out of Sydney, and there's so many people who live in Sydney. What better reason would there be to get away from all those people and come and explore? So about 2.5 hours out of town, and it's been a pretty scenic drive up here.
You ever gonna let me win? Breathing hard, never breathing in.
Now, obviously, I'm not in my BT50, my much loved BT50, had a few technical dramas, let's just call them technical dramas, yesterday, which has resulted in me jumping in the FJ Cruiser. Not bad, a bit of a fan of the FJ, as you know, I have an FJ also, so I've jumped in the FJ. Little extra duty I needed to perform, I needed to pick up the trailer, so we've got the Easy Trail on the back of this, so I'm going to bring it into the National Park and meet up with Ricko.
Ricko is the first to arrive, and he wastes no time in doing what he does best, relaxing.
Here's something coming, but that doesn't sound like a BT50, that sounds familiar.
Get on board and float downstream.
What on earth is he doing with my FJ?
Dream, chill out, stay cool, relax, let go.
Ricko! Not a BT50. What's this sexy beast you're driving? Why are you here in my FJ?
Well, we had some technical problems. Why are you here in a Mercedes?
Same thing. Some technical issues with the old Ranger.
So while the boys compare notes and take bets on who my mystery guest is, I think it's time we revealed my secret weapon.
So I spend a lot of time on the road with the boys, and while that is fun, I do like to have a girlfriend along every now and again. And this one's really gonna rock the boat with Rick, which is excellent. That's what we want to do. So, Jess, how you feel?
Good. Challenge accepted.
Ricko Jess, for those who don't know, is the real deal. From driving road trains in the outback to mustering cattle and even bull riding, Ricko Jess is the quintessential outback Jillaroo.
All right, let's get into camp and meet up with these guys.
Sure.
Hey, every girl needs to be fashionably late.
Oh, she's here. You know what I'm wondering is who she's brought along. You know who I think that is?
Who do you think that is?
I think that's Ricko Jess. Yeah, it is.
Happy days.
Look out.
Surprise!
How did you get roped into this?
Yeah, well, she had to pay me a fair bit.
Making daisy chains, I'm watching all the honey.
With the introductions done, it's time to set up camp.
Endless night.
I could sit and watch Ricko set up the Easy Trail all day, but Jess and I need a place to sleep too, so we get to work pitching our Oz tent. Maybe it wasn't a good idea though to start just after the boys had finished.
Endless nights underneath starry skies.
With camp set up and dinner simmering on the stove, we gather in the Easy Trail to work out tomorrow's adventure. And if what the HEMA says is true, it's going to be a cracker. I love a beautiful sunny morning when I'm out exploring. Sadly though, it seems the weather gods didn't quite get the memo. The Abercrombie National Park has some of the steepest four-wheel drive tracks in New South Wales, and tackling them in the wet can be difficult. Thankfully though, the rain was short-lived, and even though it's still overcast, the tracks aren't as muddy as we expected. Even if it was still raining, my 79 would have done it with ease. But what is surprising me is how well that Merc is handling the conditions.
All right, first kilo range. Ben's just doing the job. Loving it, loving it.
It's hard to keep my eyes on the road. The country is so beautiful through
You
here.
may have noticed I've given up my driver's seat. I am almost surgically attached to my 79 steering wheel, so that's a bit of a big deal. And my incredible act of selflessness hasn't gone unseen.
Hey, is that a green shirt I just spied behind the wheel of the Land Cruiser?
No, mate, that's just your eyes.
You are not letting someone else drive your vehicle, are you?
Shocking, isn't it?
Oh, wow, Jess, I hope you feel special. She doesn't let anyone near that vehicle.
I'm more worried about her than the road though.
This place may seem remote and untouched, but this area used to be teeming with people trying to strike it rich after gold was discovered in the Abercrombie River in 1851. Ricko reckons there's an old gold mining hut around here somewhere, but like the proverbial needle in a haystack, finding it is a little difficult. Not that we mind too much. I think we may have found it, but I must say, it wasn't what I was expecting.
What a river!
It's just incredible how people lived and worked in conditions like this to eke out a living. Imagine the stories these walls could tell. And speaking of stories, Ricko reckons he knows the secret to finding gold. So join us after the break to see whether he can finally retire.
Can you hear that? That's the wood saying, one at a time. One of you's got to get off.
There's been some epic driving so far in the Abercrombie, but Ricko assures me that there is way more to come. But before we tackle the tough stuff, Ricko told us about this incredible gold prospecting hut hidden away from the main track. But while the rest of us explore, Ricko has other things on his mind. Gold.
So this would be a great spot to start looking for a little bit of gold. This is the dirt that's been dug out of the ground, I'm guessing a long time ago, by how flat this depression has become. And those guys wouldn't have had this sort of technology back in the day, so they'd be looking for the bigger stuff that was worth their while. That means plenty of little stuff gets left behind, which is still worth a pretty penny these days. You know, the boys give me a hard time about this sort of thing, because I'm a sucker for this, but you know who finds the gold? The bloke who's looking for it. Not those nuppies down there. No, as usual, no joy here. It was always going to be a bit of a steep chance, wasn't it? Speaking of steep, there's supposed to be some very, very steep tracks around here, and I wouldn't mind going to have a bit of a look. I'll see if I can drag these clowns away from the river, and we'll go do exactly that. Oi, let's go! Well guys, I was talking to one of the boys in the office and he said if we're coming up here we've got to check out Little Bald Hill Fire Trail. It's supposed to be one of the steepest tracks in the area, if not in the whole of New South Wales, so I reckon we've got to check this out.
Yeah, he actually showed me a few photos and I reckon it's definitely something we've got to work out. Don't want to miss this one.
For sure, there's been plenty of steep stuff already, and if this one is steeper, then it's going to be a ripper.
Science in action.
So the producers have asked me to demonstrate with a incredibly advanced piece of scientific equipment how steep these hills are. Here I was expecting something with dials and switches. I got a tennis ball on a rope. So the theory here is that I hang on to this as we're heading downhill and it swings closer to the camera like it's doing now, and then I'll do it again when we're heading uphill and theoretically it'll swing back and hit me in the head. So here we go, level out a little bit. So there's kind of horizontal and over the edge. Yeah, sort of. Anyway, a little bit more steep stuff coming, so I'll just continue. In fact, I'm going to put this on the roof for the time being. A bit of sideways, I'm going to hit the head.
You have just seen another in the fascinating television series, Science in Action.
Producers, I may have a problem with your plan.
Yeah, I reckon this might be the start of the steep stuff. Wow, have a look at that. Alright, here's a tip for when you're tackling really steep uphill stuff. I'm just going to move my seat forward just a little bit more upright, and that's going to give me better vision over the front. The other thing I'm going to do is utilise the technology in this vehicle. I'm going to get the 360-degree camera going on my multimedia screen here so I can see the track. Go here is just a nice steady pace. Try your best to avoid wheel spin. It's pretty loose too, it's very shaly. Wow, dial on a bit more power here. This is nuts.
With Ricko successfully making it to the top, it was mine and Jess's turn.
Alrighty, bottom of the hill. Ricko got a little bit of wheel spin. Looking forward to that.
I'm quietly confident.
Yeah, I know you are.
I do trust
That's
a
what
cruiser.
worries me. All good, just check the revs up.
That's good.
There we go. See?
Alright, this is the big hill, this is the big one. The one we've heard about. Ricko and Jess have gotten up. I reckon it's pretty good. So, low range, I'm going to choose second gear.